Rimuru the Yellow Primordial? By Raphael-sensei Chapter 4, Catastrophe Unleash. Third-person Pa of the Divine Place, also known as the Heavenly Star Palace, is a transcendental realm where the seven angles of origin reside. It is also home to the first true dragon and the creator itself, Veldonava, the Star King Dragon. He is in his personal room in this place, where even his angles are forbidden to enter. He is staring at what seems to be a million's number of stars above him. This place is a place where he can view his entire creation at the level of a god, realistically speaking. He is a god, the creator god, to be exact. This place has a space expanding at an infinite speed. It also transcends the central world when it comes to dimension. A place that goes beyond causality and answers only to the desires of its creator. This place is also known as the Star King's Chamber, the Golden Room. Seeing his own creations, he gasped as he grabbed a star above him as if he were peeking at a fruit from a tree. It was not just a normal star but rather a world that consists of infinite universes, branching out infinite probabilities and staring position. Big Bang. This star is truly magnificent, signifying that the creator of this star is also a genius. Wahahaha. He stated in a prideful tone, yet somewhat childish, as it was followed by an astonishing laugh. But compared to the other stars, this one is somewhat lacking in size, he added, returning the star above. What he has said is true because that star is lacking in size, indicating that the star's infinity is just finite compared to other bigger stars, as each star has its own set of rules that's unique to one another, and every set of rules is governing by the voice of the world. With just a swipe of his hand, the view above him changes from the countless number of stars to the transcendental realm of hell. The view zoomed further and stopped when he saw a certain yellow primordial that was lazing around the couch. Isn't this interesting, John? Or sold, I say, Rimuru. Achoo. Damn. Did someone remember me? Did Veldonava know? John Pav, it's been millennia since I defeated Rouge and got crowned as the ruler of hell, and yes, as expected, he didn't yield. Well, not that I'm surprised. He is an arrogant and proud demon, and of course he will not submit even if it's a god. Enough about him, and let's move on to the present. I am currently standing at the peak of a mountain. Beside me are Blue and soon to be Esprit, facing a swarm of demons below that are questioning themselves as to why they're here. Yeah, you read it right. Blue is beside me, and if you're wondering why, well, let's just say that she challenged me to a battle after I became the ruler of hell. To make the long story short, I beat her to the pulp. After that, she swore her loyalty to me. While for Esprit, soon to be, she's kept on fangirling towards me. That's why I offered her to become my subordinate, and she, without hesitation, accepted my offer. I take a deep breath before saying something, even though I didn't need it before saying my thoughts loudly. Minions! I shouted. Does the demons below stop murmuring, causing the place to be engulfed in awkward silence? Does I continue? Tonight, we will conquer the moon. I shouted, making the swarm of demons begin to cheer loudly even though they don't know what a moon is. Some of them are confused while the others are cheering even though they are clueless. I think they are just afraid to disappoint me and get nuked. Hey, what a bunch of fools. My lady, I know it's rude for me to ask this, but we know that the moon is just exclusive to the material world, right? How could we conquer it if we didn't have a physical vessel to possess? Not to mention, this bunch of demons also needed a physical vessel to stay in the material world. Blue, who is standing beside me, couldn't hold back and asked with complete curiosity. Of course she will get curious, after all. We primordials have the basic knowledge of the world above, but for me, I'm just messing around about this moon conquest thingy. It is not the reason why I assembled this bunch of demons. I have something in mind, and it will be an explosion. Oh, please, do you really think that I'm serious about that? I asked her back, and she quickly apologized to me before keeping herself silent. I then laid my eyes on those maggots below me. Do any one of you have questions? I asked them, making the demons engulfed in silence once again. After a minute of waiting, finally, one demon with guts finally break the silence. How are we exactly going to do that? And what exactly is a moon? The random buffoon that came from Rouge's lineage irritatedly shouted. Huh, these maggots had the guts to shout at me. How foolish. I am asking them politely, but he has the audacity to get irritated. It seems this demon needs some education. You might as well figure it yourself. I answered him calmly, To hide my full intention, and with a flick of my finger, a large monolith with a tail that resembles a rocket ship appeared before me. I then signaled the demon to come above. He hesitated at first, but he had no choice because the one who is commanding him is the ruler of hell and the tyrant itself. The demon then expanded its wings and flew towards me. "Stand to that thing," I commented to him while pointing the rocket, and the demon hesitantly followed my comment. After that, I manifested a rope in my hand as I quickly tied him to the rocket. "Wait, what do you think you're doing, you moron?" the demon shouted, trying to unravel the rope while panicking. I just looked at him with my cutie smile as I lit up a fire to my finger. "You will know soon," I said in a playful tone as I lit up the wick of the rocket, making the process of takeoff to start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In my countdown, the rocket launches to the sky at supersonic speed, and when the rocket reaches the right altitude, it creates an explosion with formidable force, making the foolish demon that attached it to be killed, and not even a drop of blood remains as it completely disintegrates by the force of explosion. "Now that's what you called a fireworks display," I said in a playful tone, making the demons below to be driven by fear. "Now then, who's excited to join him to the moon?" I said shoutingly with a mischievous grin, making the demons below sweat in fear and run for their lives, leaving the land in chaos. "Domain expansion. English or Spanish?" I said without ruining my grin. "Whoever moves first is gay," I added as I released some of my Demon Lord's hockey, just enough for the demons below to be immobilized. I then raised my right hand to the sky as I collected energy from the air for my nuclear magic. Even though I'm irritated, I made a condition to those demons for them to have a chance of surviving this attack. "If I say the word, run, that's the indication for you all to flee, understand?" I said, as the majority of them agree, turning off my hockey in the process, and for those who are stubborn enough to disobey me, I launched the other version of my signature spell, Megiddo, that is capable to kill a weak spiritual life form. And surprise, surprise, they are a bunch of demons who are idiotic enough to disobey my word and receive the consequence of their action. "Do you really think that I'm foolish around?" I shouted, releasing some of my hockey in the process, which made the demons below be washed in fear even more. "You know what? Pack the condition. I annul it, now eat this and die," I said shoutingly as I deployed the nuclear magic in hand, eradicating all those foolish maggots in the process. "Come on now you two, let's leave and go back to my domain," I said to my two subordinates, as the two of them replied in unison. "Yes, my lady." Somewhere in material world third-person POV. Clang sounded the sword as it made contact to the other sword. Boom, the cannon echoes as it releases a devastating explosion. Ah! The battle cry of the soldiers resonates while trying to defend their land. Mommy CBW, what is happening? Please don't sob, leave me," asked the child while crying and getting pampered by her already wounded mom, as they were getting sheltered by their already broken home. There, everything are gonna be just fine, mommy won't leave you, okay, I'm always here for you. My sweet little angel." A sweet, gentle, and calming voice from the mom answered her child's worries while hugging it gently and caressing its hair. Does the mother and child hug each other as their home completely crumble into the ground, making them to be buried in the process. In the highest floor of the castle, "Princess, you need to run, shouted the soldier as the blood drifted onto his chin upon piercing him with a large javelin that exited into his guts. The princess trembled in fear after seeing the death of her soldier. Leaving her no choice but to take a leap of faith, she quickly cut off her dress skirt using the sword of her fallen man as she quickly ran and leapt at the castle's window. A sorrow draws in her face as the air embraces her falling body, and the sounds of a splash echo throughout the entire area as her petite body makes contact with the water barrier. She stroked her arms to the water, followed by her limbs, as she swam in all of her might. She clenched her hand to the shore as she painfully lifted herself from the lake, as tears escaped from her eyes and slid through her sorrowful face, as she quickly escaped from the woods and performed a demon summoning ritual. Ha 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 ha. Where is the almighty king of this kingdom now? The leader of the battalion, a masculine man, shouted to the king while trusting his meat to the entrance of an already deceased queen. The king couldn't help but cry as his body was embracing the ground as he was being pinned by a bunch of laughing enemy soldiers guarding him. You bastard, stop staining the body of my beloved wife. A cracking voice resonated to the camber as the hopeless king shouted in vain. The man just laughed at the voice of the king as he kept on insulting the king and made his trust even more intense, adding fuel to the already burning king. He clenched his fist as he tried punching the guard, but the guard just easily dodged it. This action of him made the guard angry, who pierced his hand with his sword, resulting for him to further crying in pain. On the brink of sorrow, he closed his eyes as his tears became more intense. He blamed himself for being naive, for being an idiotic king, to not being able to protect his land and people, for not being strong enough, and for being weak. He repented of himself as he prayed to God to cleanse his soul, to forgive him for his naivety, and finally, to make his wife happy in the afterlife. He knows that he's a terrible king. He knows that he wouldn't be forgiving by being naive. But even though that was the case, he tried to pray. "You all are scumbags." A feminine voice resonates with the area. The voice is devoid of emotion. It comes from a beautiful girl who has Lee's shoulder hair that has a golden pigment. Resembling the rays of the sun, her dead eyes are a blue as ocean abyss, as if they were staring directly at the soul. "Y'all are going to receive the most painful death possible. To be continued."